When I first saw Israel as a young baby, I didn't process at the moment that he was enabled differently. So my reaction was not that different from any other child, like when I saw my firstborn or secondborn. My name is Moses Simiyu. I'm born again. I'm a father of 3 children. The second one is enabled differently, and the first 2 are okay. My firstborn is a girl. She's 12 years of age. My secondborn is 8 years of age, Israel, is a boy. My thirdborn is a girl, 7 years of age. My secondborn is enabled differently. The first one and the third one they're all right. My first reaction when I saw my son being born, when I went to the hospital, when I first saw him in the incubator, my reaction was actually, he's a big boy. What is he doing in an incubator? That was my reaction. And then when I saw the feeding pipes, I was shaken a bit, but I knew he would be fine. He was strong, he was doing well, so I knew things would be okay. I found out about Israel's condition first from the mom, because I inquired from her, why is Israel in the incubator and he's already big. I think he was born with, was it 4 kilograms or something? Yes, he was a big boy. So I asked the mom about the condition. She said it's something to do with the lack of oxygen, and then something had happened to him when he was in the womb. The umbilical cord had gone around his neck or something, and he had become tired and he had lost breath. So that's why he came out the way he came out. But that's how I found out first. And then I had to inquire more. And then I called my mom because she's a medic. She explained also the situation and also did some Googling. Now these days there's Google. My experience from the hospital up to now with Israel has been, it has been interesting. It has been, sometimes it's annoying, sometimes it's a pleasant experience, sometimes a bad experience. It's a mixture of everything. Just like you're dealing with normal children, it takes time when you get to know the child. It takes time to know a child who is enabled differently. You have to study that child more than you study a child who is normal. But after you get to know how the child is, it becomes easy. You just treat the child like any other child. You know what the child needs when he cries or how he behaves. You know what he needs. Israel has a very good relationship with his sisters. He is the big boy of the house, so he's what can we say? He's the apple of everybody's eye. They take care of him. They carry him like he's the most important person in the family.
My name is Jeda Mondi Simiyu. I'm in a family of 3. I'm a firstborn. My brother is the secondborn, Israel, and Hadassah is the lastborn. Israel actually likes Hadassah when she says, there's a word which Hadassah says from the cartoon, and he likes it so much. He laughs when you say it. When you're running and you're saying the word, he loves so much. Israel doesn't like you, like you are disturbing him, or you're taking him out of something that he's doing, or maybe you're taking him out of when he was watching something that it was his favorite, and then you are taking it out and you're taking it away. You want to watch your own things. He doesn't like it, and he also doesn't like you when you are feeding him and then you stop feeding him, you're doing your own things, and then you come back to feeding him, he doesn't like it. Israel likes, the program that he likes is Super Readers or Super Wide, that is, and also there's another cartoon which my aunt introduced Israel. It's called Rasta Mouse. It's like a reggae cartoon which Israel likes. There are three people there are three mouse who they are running. They come to save this. Mom, stop laughing. Israel also knows people. For example, like when you tell him like, where's Hadassah, and then he will look at Hadassah. That's how you know that he knows Hadassah. Israel actually is so excited when we travel, because he likes seeing places, likes viewing. So when we travel, it's like it's his favorite, but also he jumps, he kicks. Yeah, Israel is a very a social person. People will normally respond to him positively and not negatively. Yeah, like last time when we were traveling, Israel was looking at a person. There was a person who we were sitting next to, and Israel saw the person being excited, and he laughed with him. So we knew that Israel had made a new friend.
Hi, this is my brother Israel. I love him and we play a lot.
Israel is my nephew and I love him so much. During the holidays, I normally come to visit my sister to stay with Israel, and I'm the one who mostly feeds him, and most of the time he's very stubborn when you feed him. When you feed him, he holds the spoon and he wants to feed himself, so it gets very hard. And when you wash him, he doesn't want to get out of the water when you wash him. He loves water very much, and when you take him to bed to sleep, you can get him to sleep and you think he's already asleep, and when you come back, you'll find him jumping, and it's not really very fun staying with him. And when I'm at school, I miss him so much and I always want to stay there. And I always tell people about my cute nephew, and even when we walk with him, people always tell us how he's very cute. Yes.
My relationship with Israel, I believe, is very good. When Israel was born, I used to whisper something in his ear that when I would go to work and I would spend, because most times I'm not with him, so when I come back and I whisper the same, he recognizes my voice and we reconnect immediately. So I've bonded with him well. Feeding Israel is fun, and again it's annoying, because when you're feeding him and when he likes the food, he'll eat it all. When he doesn't like it, he'll put his tongue out and push out what you have put in. So it sort of spills everywhere. When you take him to the shower, he loves the water. He wants to stay, after you're finished showering him, he wants to stay there for another hour. So taking him out is another fight. And then when you are in the car, he wants to sit where the window is so that he can look out. When he sees cars passing, he starts laughing. He starts, when you remove him from there, you have removed him from an environment which he likes. So he starts quarreling again. It's fun being with Israel. I would like to address parents who have children who are enabled differently One of the major questions that people ask is, once they have that child, they begin to ask themselves, why God? Why? I don't know why people always ask God negative questions. It is not his fault. It is not. That's a challenge that has come to you. That is a child that has been given to you. It is our responsibility as parents to do our best for our children, whether they are enabled differently or whether they are normal children. It really doesn't matter. That is your child. And we ought to be proud of our children, show them off, go out with them, take that extra mile and make their life comfortable, just like you would have made it for the other children, because they are not different from any other children. Once you get to know them, you'll begin to realize that they're actually the same with other children. It's just that they communicate differently. They are not less intelligent. It's just that the way they communicate is different. You have to learn their language. People train dogs to do different tricks. You can live with a human being and you can understand his language. Just because he does not speak the way you speak does not mean you cannot communicate. So I would encourage parents who have children who are enabled differently. Be proud of your child. That child did not come into the world, that they did not ask for that. They are your product. So be proud of it. Go out with them, buy them clothes, do the same things you would do with them that you would do with other children. For dads especially, I remember when I was taking Israel to one of the therapists back in Rongai. There was a lady there who was a lady nurse or a lady therapist. And I was the only man who was there among ladies who had come with their children. So when that lady saw me, she asked me, "Why? How come you have brought your child here?" I was actually surprised by her question because I said, "He is my son, that's why I brought him." That is your son. That is your own flesh and blood. There's nothing that you're going to do that is going to remove that from that fact. That is your child. Whether you go and get other children, that one will still remain your child. It is your responsibility as a husband, as the father of that child. Don't be afraid. Your child is different, but he's normal. I don't like to say they're enabled different. I just say they're normal. You just have to learn their language. Once you learn it, you get attached to them. They'll get very attached to you, and life will be normal. So dads out there, be encouraged. Go with your wives to the therapist. See what they do with these children. See what how they train them. Do it back at home. Carry your child with you. Be a friend of your child, because that is your flesh and blood. There's nothing you're going to do about that. So that's my encouragement to dads, to participate with their children. To relatives who have cousins who have a child who is enabled differently, maybe is a nephew, an uncle, an in-law, it doesn't matter. Stigma is one of the problems that we have in our country. What people think about the child. You have to go beyond that, because people have different thoughts regarding different things. And you're not going to control what people think about that child. But you as a person can create a different perception. Why don't you get involved? Why don't you get to know that child? If that child is one of your relatives, why don't you get to know about that child? Why don't you get to talk with that child, carry that child, embrace that child? Why don't you learn for yourself instead of thinking about what other people say about that child? And then you will get to know that child, and you will discover that they are amazing children. They are enabled differently, but they are really good children. They're amazing, and your life will change. Most people don't know about disabled or enabled children who are enabled differently because they are not in that circle. They have a relative who is enabled differently, but they ignore that relative. Why don't you get into that and get to know that child, and you'll discover a new world that maybe you don't know.
I thank God for Baba Israel. At least today he has, at least tumemwona, and it has been a good experience and a good journey. I thank God for him because he has been very supportive from day one, and he has been a shoulder to lean on. He has stood by us. I remember the days I couldn't go I couldn't take Israel for therapy because I was pregnant with my last born, and he's the one who took Israel for therapy for the whole semester, and he has been very supportive, and I am very humbled, and I'm very happy that at least today he has even talked to men, to other men. So this thing is doable to our men. Please embrace your children, embrace your wives, support them kabisa. You stand with them, show them a lot of love. These children need love. They need to be shown love, to be shown support. Do anything you can do, do your part and let God do his part, because God will watch you. If you do your part, of course God will do his part. But now you want to call God to do his part, you're doing nothing. At least do something. Show a lot of love to the children, support your children to the end. And thank you so much, even for always your support, and even for listening to us. And God bless you.